Hello and thank you for coming to the Muslim Day at the Capitol. We will get our program started. We will start our program with Quran recitation by Imam Ahmed. تفضل.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون. The translation for the verse: piety is not that you turn your faces toward the east or the west in prayers, but true piety is to believe in God, the last day, the angels, the scriptures, and the prophets, and to give wealth out of love to the relatives, the orphans, the needy, the travelers, those who ask for help, and to free slaves, and to establish prayers and pay charity. Those who fulfill their promise when they promise, and those who are patient in poverty and hardship. Those are the ones who have been true, and it is those who are righteous.
Next, I would like to welcome to the stage Imam Asad Zaman, Executive Director of Muslim American Society of Minnesota.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, greetings of peace. Today I would like to talk about Islamophobia. Webster defines Islamophobia as an irrational fear or hatred of Islam or Muslims. But I guess most of the people in this room already know that. And I want to bring your attention to Islamophobia in our state and to the consequences of it. This is the state that last year experienced the bombing of Darul Farouk Mosque. Recently, the perpetrators were arrested, and we learned and discovered that the bombers, the terrorists, were from Chicago. They are not from Minnesota. And this is important and significant for us for the following reason. In February of this year, 2 elected officials, Representative Kathy Lomer from Stillwater and Representative Cindy Pugh from Chanhassen, forwarded Islamophobic material on Facebook. And they accused Muslims of trying to take over America. Muslims, you see, are caught between a rock and a hard place. If they don't participate, they are said, these people refuse to integrate. If they participate, they are accused of taking over. The actions of Representative Pugh and Representative Lomer went viral. 300,000 people watched those videos, and we have received 10,000 pieces of hate mail from her supporters, including death threats. Now, if a death threat is made by somebody in Alabama or Texas, Somebody might have said, well, that is not important, but the case of the Darul Farooq bombing proves otherwise. We take each and every one of those death threats seriously. And we hold Representative Lomer and Representative Pugh personally responsible for them. We call upon them to apologize on the floor of the House of Representatives for these actions they have taken that have hurt the people they were elected to represent, and that have hurt the civic fabric of the state. I sent a letter requesting to the two of them that we meet to talk about this. They sent me back a letter saying they only meet with constituents. I then started calling Muslims in their district, and in each of their cases we found constituents who wanted to make an appointment with them. I want this point to be clear. I want the media to report this. In the case of Representative Pugh, she made an appointment and this morning canceled it. This is unacceptable. We are going to come back again and again and ask for an in-person meeting. You will have to face the voters whom you supposedly represent. They will ask you to apologize. You will have to explain your actions to the public. In the case of Representative Lomer, her office did not even bother to respond to the 12 phone messages that were left. This also is not acceptable. We intend to stop by their office today. I invite the media to follow along. When each of you today meet with your representatives and senators, please ask them the following. We ask you to call these two people and ask them to apologize, demand their apology. Now is the time to demonstrate what your real values are. Are you in favor of hatred, or are you in favor of diversity and shared living? I also requested meetings with the Speaker of the House, the Majority Leader, and the Minority Leader to discuss Islamophobia and to discuss having Islamophobia training. In the case of the Minority Leader, I was able to get a meeting within 15 minutes. In the case of the Majority Leader and the Speaker, I got the same nonsense. Said we only meet with constituents. And I want to ask this question. Does the Speaker demand the Chamber of Commerce to show up with a constituent before he meets with them? This is not acceptable. The Speaker needs to represent the entire state. In the case of the Speaker, furthermore, if he insists, I do not mind visiting his district and finding constituents, Muslim or Christian or Jewish or a person of no faith, as long as they are persons of goodwill. I don't mind finding those people and bringing them one by one to the legislature. I will do that if that is what I am compelled to do. This matter is serious. I ask all our allies, if you are a priest, if you are a bishop, if you are a rabbi, if you are a person of faith or if you are a person of no faith, as long as you are a person of goodwill, please call the Speaker's office and ask for a meeting for yourself, not for me, at a time that is convenient for you. Call the Speaker's office and say, we would like to meet with you about Islamophobia and the culture of hate. When can we have a meeting? If you are from their district, please call me. I want to talk to you. I want to set this up correctly. This has to stop. The words have consequences. There has already been a bombing, and the people are being radicalized with fear and hate, and the people who are doing that need to be called out. I call on all elected officials to call this out. Thank you very much. Next, it is my signal honor to welcome the governor of this great state, Governor Mark Dayton.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I think the Imam said it very, very well. This is a gathering of people of goodwill. And most Minnesotans are joining our ranks, and I'm here. State Auditor Otto is here, and others elected officials are here, will be here shortly, to stand with you and say, this is what America is all about. Our founders of this country had the wisdom to put in the very first amendment the freedom of religion. They didn't mean freedom from religion, they meant freedom for religion. Freedom for every one of us to decide what he or she wants to believe and how to exercise that faith. That's America. Right in the First Amendment. That's America when President Thomas Jefferson took his oath of office with his hand on the Koran. That's America when representatives like Keith Ellison are elected, and state legislators like Ilan Amon, and city council members are elected. And all of you join together, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, non-religious, to say that we are all Americans. We all stand together. We honor and respect one another for their faith, for their exercise of their constitutional rights. And anybody who opposes that is the one who's not the American. And is that. Let me correct that. They're Americans, but they're not acting in the spirit of Americans, which is well established. So I thank you for being here today. I hope that you all have the opportunity to meet with your elected representatives, whether you're constituents or not. I haven't heard that distinction being made very often around here before. As the Imam said, people meet with other people all the time, and you should have the right and the opportunity to express yourselves directly to people who are elected to represent you, but represent all of Minnesota once they walk into this chamber. So thank you very much. Have a good day.
Next will be Minnesota State Representative Rod Hamilton.
Thank you. You know, I've said multiple times, all too often we fear what we don't take the time to understand, right? Whether it's the color of our skin, the way we dress, the languages we speak, the offices in which we hold. I say if we simply take the time to get to know one another, we'll find beauty all around us. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out here today. And I am honored to be able to carry the bill as far as allowing school boards to recognize religious holidays. And again, I simply want to thank everybody for being here. And anytime if you want to stop by and say hello and share with me some of the other concerns that you may have in the political process or otherwise, the door's always open. So thank you for being here.
Next, I would like to call the Executive Director of Dar Farouk Center, Mohammed Omar.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed Omar. I'm the Executive Director of Dar Farouk. My message, as Brother Asad said, I will be talking to Muslims, Muslim community. As Dar Farouk, we have witnessed, last year the horrific incident that took place in our masjid. And finding out those who did, their intention was to kick us out from this country. I'm a father of 6. All my children, they were born here. I live across the street of my mosque. We lived those moments, and they were very difficult for my children. They were very difficult for my wife. Half block away from the mosque, my wife asked me when I'm leaving, please take your car. And the guy who did lives 600 miles away from my house. So if we don't speak out, if we don't come together, then we will be scapegoated, and this hatred will take over, and as we watch, our kids won't have a place to grow peacefully and safe. Please, I'm calling all Muslims to come together, to unite, to forget all our differences, and to show up, to show our strength. And in that cause, I will be calling all of you to join a group we created called Muslim Coalition of Isaiah, and Doran will be speaking the role of Isaiah. And those are almost 21 months together so far. We are trying to build our power and to say no to those who are spreading hate, and we will say and stay strong and resilient. And I'm calling all Muslims, please come together. Unity is the one will make us strong. As they said before, if you are not in the table, you are in the menu. So please make sure that our voices are heard, especially Muslims. We can do better than this. This room is like almost 100 or 150 people. We can come thousands, and to make our voices very clear. Thank you.
Next, I would like to call Minnesota State Auditor Rebecca Otto.
Good morning. Salam alaikum, Nabad. So nice to see you today. The gathering gets bigger every year. Every year. And I would say that all of us need to come together, that I will be a voice for you as well. We are Minnesotans. And as Minnesotans, we are one big family. And as family, we care about each other. We have the same hopes and dreams for our children, for our nieces and nephews, for our grandchildren. And this is a state that believes in a lot of good things, equality of opportunity, strong education. And so I want to thank you for being here today, for your ability to leave your work and your families and come to the Capitol and have these really important conversations. And when anybody in government attempts to dehumanize anybody, all of us must say no. Dehumanization allows really bad things to happen. So let's join hands, my friends. Let's join our voices, and together we will change the direction and tell people that they can't do this kind of behavior and demonize any of our fellow Minnesotans or fellow Americans. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Next, I would like to call Doran Schranz, from Executive Director of Isaiah.
Hello, my name is Doran Schranz. I am the Director of Isaiah. I am so privileged and honored to be here with you today. Thank you. I am the director of Isaiah. Isaiah is a coalition of churches and congregations and faith communities across the state of Minnesota who work together to create a whole and just society here in Minnesota. So I am so excited to be here and to be here with you in partnership with over the 20 mosques who have launched the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah. Yes. But I want to tell you why that's so important this year. So it has always been important for people of faith to come together around a common vision for a just society. But in these times, it's essential. This year, many people some elected officials are going to seek to build their political power by scapegoating our Muslim brothers and sisters. This is an insidious and unfortunately it's an effective strategy. This, at worst, is life-threatening to Muslim families and communities, as we saw unfold at Dar el-Farouk. It is also, though, insidious and dangerous for all Minnesotans. Scapegoating other people is degrading and corruptive to our public life and our democratic values. And it distracts us from coming together to solve the problems that all of our families need to come together to solve. It is existentially important for all Minnesotans to reject in all of its forms Islamophobia and the scapegoating of anyone, people of color, new immigrants, Jewish communities, women, anyone. And that is why we come together in 2018. We come together to fight for Minnesota's future and to embrace, even more than fight for our future, we come together to embrace the thriving and vibrant future that your family and my family can have if we come together. Thank you.
Next, I would like to call State Representative Jim Noblack.
Well, good morning and greetings. I'm State Representative Jim Knobloch. I represent the St. Cloud area, including many Somalis and Muslims who are in my district and who I am proud to represent. I want to thank you for coming here. You are an important and growing part of our state of Minnesota. And I'm pleased to work on some of the initiatives that you have before you. I think you've all been handed this particular flyer or know of it. One that I'm working on in particular as a co-author is the Religious Holiday Recognition Bill. I think this bill is a very simple bill that's something it's something that people of all faiths should be able to agree on. So I wish you a good day. I know there are many other speakers. I am pleased and honored to be able to speak. When I came over, I wasn't necessarily expecting that, so I really don't have a speech prepared. But I'm pleased and honored to be able to speak to you, welcome you here today. Thank you for your part in being part of Minnesota, and I wish you a great day. Thank you.
Next, I would like to call Amir Malik from Council on American Islamic Relations.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. The number one reason we are here is because we want Minnesota to be the best that it can be. Every day at CARE, we spend our time empowering Minnesotan Muslims and fighting against Islamophobia, religious discrimination, and religious profiling. We are on the front lines every day because this is what's best for Minnesota, where everybody feels they are a part of society and that they have something they can contribute. But we need to engage more. Civic engagement is the beating heart of democracy. I know many of you are disillusioned from the hate and ignorance that has been directed towards us by elected officials. But I'm here to tell you, healing democracy starts here. My hope is that you will go on and you will meet your elected officials, but that this will not be the last time you are here. Our hope is that you will join us for Fridays at the Capitol, we are asking that each year you set aside one Friday and you come and you meet with your elected official, because if they don't see you, it's the same as if you're not here. And you'd be surprised, many times people do not even realize that Muslims live in their district. And that's what they care about. People care about votes. There are so many elections where someone won by 120 votes, 160 votes. So that you do matter, but they need to know you're here. Also, I'd like to invite you for our Muslim Youth Leadership Conference. That's at the University of Minnesota on April 14th. But the important thing for all of you, you have a voice, you matter, do not be afraid to engage. We are Minnesota. Thank you.
Next, I would like to call Kausar Hussein from Islamic Center of Minnesota.
Good morning. Greetings of peace and assalamu alaikum. It is encouraging to see so many of you, especially the young ones here. We want Minnesota to be a better society for the future of our kids and for all its citizens. If we want our voices to be heard positively, we need to engage, and that is exactly what we are doing today. When we participate, we ensure justice, and we ensure betterment of society, and we defend our civil liberties. We are responsible as individuals and as community to promote what is good in the best way possible. It is important for us as Americans and as Muslims to see and hear and learn what is exactly around us. It is our duty to make a positive contribution to the society. We need to be making connections and building relationships with a broad base of political officials and other institutional leaders to make an impact. As Muslims, we believe that it is our responsibility, it is our duty to bring good to the world, and that was the tradition of our Prophet, peace be upon him. With our sincere, genuine participation, we bring benefit to this society. We should focus on what is important to us, which is the welfare and well-being of our community, and that is being part of the whole fabric of the society. I'll conclude with a quote from one of my favorite activists, Khalid Latif. "You are what we need. You are the catalyst. You are the variable. You are the ingredient that will be the means of changing our communities." Thank you.
Next, I'll call to the stage State Representative Peggy Flanagan.
Bonjour, good morning. Welcome to your house. My name is Peggy Flanagan. I'm a citizen of the White Earth Band of Ojibwe, and I'm also a member of the House of Representatives. And I'm a proud member of our People of Color and Indigenous Caucus. There are 14 of us out of 201, so we need to increase our numbers, which means more folks from the community need to run for office. And I hope that you all are thinking about that here today. But it also matters that you're here. Too often, there are decisions that are made about our communities without us at the table. What was most surprising to me when I got here was that my colleagues would introduce bills that would dramatically impact communities without ever speaking to them. And we cannot do this work unless we are in relationship with each other. So today is a great day. You are here for the Day on the Hill, and I ask you to keep showing up. Keep showing up and hold us and my colleagues accountable to the issues that you care about. Because if government is going to work, we're going to do it together. And so I am just so excited to see all of you here. I hope you keep coming back. That is my invitation to you, that this is your house and you absolutely should feel comfortable, safe, and welcomed here. The same way that you should feel comfortable, safe, and welcome in Minnesota. And so I would just finally say, and you should come here, but you also should invite all of us into your community. Making sure that we know who you are, we are in deep relationship with each other, so we can do our job well and representing all of you. So in my language, I say chi mi gwech, a big thanks, many thanks for being here in your house, and I hope this is just the first of many opportunities for you to engage in this process. If this is, your second, third, umpteenth time around, keep coming back. It matters. We see you. And I also wanted to acknowledge some of my partners in justice. I'm not going to say in crime, my partners in justice. Representative Frank Hornstein and Representative Mike Freiberg. So thank you for being here and welcome to your house.
Next, I would like to call State Representative Ilhan Omar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I can't hear you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's wonderful. So good to see all of you brothers and sisters and everyone in between. I am excited to welcome you to the 14th annual Muslim Day at the Capitol. As the second Muslim legislator to serve in the Minnesota legislature and the nation's first Muslim immigrant lawmaker, it gives me so much joy to see all of you here taking part of a great Minnesota tradition. As Americans, as Muslims, as Minnesotans, we are doing what many citizens do, which is to organize themselves, to come here with their allies, and to come and advocate for issues you care about, issues that impact you, issues that impact your neighbors. So I thank you for doing that. It is a wonderful opportunity for us to gather, use the resources that we have and all of the tools to educate ourselves and to show up here and meet with the legislators, the people we employ, the people we elect, the people we pay their salaries to advocate and speak on our behalf. I am excited to see all of you here. I am excited to work with you, besides you, to push for things that impact us, not only as Muslims, but as Minnesotans, as Americans. Under the Constitution, we are afforded the same rights as everyone else. I said, under the Constitution, we are afforded the same rights as everyone else. It is indicative for us to recognize that. To recognize that we have every right to organize ourselves, to mobilize ourselves, to actively engage and participate in every aspect of society. Now, I know that over the last year and so, there are so many people that have been motivated by hate and fear to silence our voices. But we have a different kind of motivation. We have been motivated by love, by peace, by the core teachings of our faith, to fully participate and bring everyone along and show people that love for neighbor, a desire to participate in civic society, a need to improve our communities is so much part of who we are, is so much part of our faith, and is so much part of what it means to be an American. So in early February, as MAS and Isaiah and other organizations gathered to use the resources that they had to train people to participate in our democracy, to empower and engage people to partake in our infant grassroots democracy, which is our caucuses. People started to have conversations about Muslims infiltrating our democracy. How awful that must be. Why must they want to participate in our democracy? Who allows these people to do this? Well, I proudly say, as a Minnesota legislator, I allow these people to do this. And as taxpayers, as Americans, we allow each other to do this. Under the Constitution of this country, we all have equal access to our democracy, regardless of your faith, regardless of your race, regardless of your country of origin. So, I am going to ask you to continue to participate, to continue to agitate, to continue to engage, to continue to advocate. Because no matter what they say, you have as much right as they do. And every single time they preach hate, they preach division, we will preach love, inclusion, because we know that our diversity is our biggest strength here in Minnesota. So you will see today that regardless of what party affiliation we might have, as legislators, we work for you. Our doors are open to you because you are the reason we are here. So walk in there knowing that you don't need a permission, you don't need an invitation to take a seat at your legislator's office and to tell them exactly how you feel. Please understand that you are powerful. Please understand that your voice is valuable. Please understand that the contributions that you make to our great state, to our nation, is immeasurable. I just read somewhere, for those who are immigrants and also Muslim, I read somewhere that immigrants are 9% of Minnesota's population, but contribute 40% of our Fortune 500 companies are started by them. So So when people talk about our deficits, you need to remind them how much of an asset we are to the state. Speak from a place of pride. Speak from a place of value. Speak with dignity and make sure you are walking in these rooms with integrity. Understanding that your experience is what these lawmakers need to hear and understand in order to be able to create policies that are effective and impactful to all Minnesotans. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing your friends. Thank you for bringing the children. And I am so honored to have the privilege of welcoming you to your house. Thank you.
Next, I would like to call from Ayana Hassan Jama. That's it.
Assalamu alaikum. MashaAllah, it's really very hard to talk after Ilhan, right? Yeah, very difficult. Brothers and sisters in Islam, brothers and sisters, people of faith, people of non-faith, thank you for being here today. We honor your support, your ally, and showing solidarity. As everybody said, it's our common responsibility that we work together the issues that matters to us. Our Prophet talked about so many times, rights of your neighbor, feed them, visit them, give them any help that they need, not only the neighbor. I remember the hadith, which is prophetic word. Our Prophet teaches us the common responsibility, how it's vital and very important in our life. He gave us an example. Group of people reside in a boat which has 2 floors. And the people of under the deck of the boat, when they need water, they go top to get the water. Then they said, why we bothering our brothers in upper deck? Let we, get the water from the bottom in the ocean. And our Prophet, peace be upon him, said, if the people of the upper of the boat did not stop them, they will all destroy. So as a Minnesotan, we are the same boat. Is that right? Yes, we are all together no matter what. We need to be united. We have so many common that we can contribute in our state. As my colleague said, our diversity, it's a growth. It's not a weakness. We are not going anywhere. We are here. As you came before us, the people who teach the hatred, they came a little while ago, right? Yes, and today we are here. And no matter what, our children, tomorrow, they will lead this country in a good way. And that's what we teach our children. We don't teach hatred. We don't teach the race. We teach what's good for them and what's good for this country. Let's be united. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Next, I would like to call House Minority Leader Melissa Hartman.
Good morning. Thank you so much for coming to the Capitol today. I always want to remind people when they come to the Capitol and they face the daunting parking prospects that we have here, to remember that we live where you live. So always feel free to call your state representative or your state senator or send them an email and ask them to meet you at the local coffee shop, because chances are the Caribou or the Starbucks that's closest to you is the Caribou or Starbucks that's closest to us, and we're happy to meet you there. You know, the Minnesota legislature is becoming more diverse, and it's starting to better reflect the beautiful diversity that is the state of Minnesota. For so many of us who care about tolerance, the 2016 election was tough. But in the Minnesota DFL House Caucus, it was a glorious year because Ilhan Omar got elected in 2016. But not only that, we also have 4 Native women in our caucus. We have a wonderful Hmong young man from North Minneapolis. We are starting to reflect the beautiful diversity that is Minnesota. And I'll tell you, in 2018, we have a chance to make the Minnesota legislature even better reflect Minnesota. We have fantastic candidates endorsed all across the metro area. We have Amir Malik running up in Blaine. And this place should be a place where all people look at a state representative or a state senator and they feel that they are represented here. And they feel that their voices are welcome here and that they have a place to come and petition their grievances to their government. At the end of the day, I think we're all for the same thing. We want a high-quality education system where every single Minnesota child has access to an excellent public education. And we want health care that's accessible and affordable so that people can get preventative care and we can pay for these expenses in normal doctor visits instead of urgent care at the emergency room. We want a health care system that works for every Minnesotan. So please don't underestimate how important your voices are. I think in 2018, there is nothing more important than voting. I will tell you, after the 2016 election, I was thinking about what other things I could do with my life other than public service, because it was a little frustrating. But I am even more committed than ever to electoral politics because there is nothing more important that any of us will do than to talk to voters and to vote. So please, in 2018, make sure you get out there, make your voices heard on the campaign trail, and vote. Thank you.
Next, we have a message from the office of Senator Amy Klobuchar.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abad Jaffrey. I work for United States Senator Amy Klobuchar. Senator Klobuchar couldn't be here today, but she sends her peace and blessings along with this letter. Thank you to everyone gathered today in celebration of and support for Minnesota's Muslim community. Events like Muslim Day at the Capitol are instrumental in bringing all Americans into our political process, and I applaud you for recognizing the importance of civic engagement here in Minnesota. All of you have contributed so much to the cultural and economic vitality of our state. You own successful businesses, you're teaching in our schools and serving as police officers and firefighters. You're giving back through community nonprofits. You're even getting elected to office. In these difficult times, you're a part of the fabric of life in our state, and you're actively working to make our future brighter. Thank you for all that you do. I am so proud to stand with our Muslim community. It is my honor and privilege to serve as a United States Senator. Sincerely, Amy Klobuchar. Thank you.
Next, I would like to call Abdulwajid Farah from Abu Bakr Islamic Center.
I'm very honored to be here today. I want to first thank the organizers and the elected officials and all the people who are here today. I just want to send one message. Muslims around the nation are facing challenges, are suffering for Islamophobia. The best examples are the news outlets, the airport security, as well as the movie, filming industries. So it has never been better time to organize such events and be active and to stop those hatred messages. Thank you very much.
Next, I would like to call Imam Muhammad Dukhuli from Masjid Al-Ansar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. I'd like to join my brothers and sisters who preceded us here today. I'd like to thank our brothers and sisters from the larger Minnesota community who have come here to show us, to stand by us, to show love to us, and to show care for us. I take off my hat for all of you. we live in a moment of uncertainty across this country. But we have hope because we have thousands, if not millions, of Americans who understand that we are part and parcel of this society. So we should not lose hope at all. We should not allow anyone to make us feel uncertain of our future. Don't allow that to happen, because this is their goal: to scare you, to frighten you, to put fear in you so that you can run away from your goals. And by fearing your goals, you're not going to achieve them. So I stand by each and every one of our brothers in this room, outside of this room, who is seeking equal rights, equal protection under the laws of the United States of America. Let me just give you a simple statistics in addition to what Ilhan just gave you. In the United States, they are saying that our population is 1%. 1% of our population actually produces 10% of the 200,000 medical doctors in this country. 15,000 of the 10% actually comes from where? From the 7 Muslim countries that are banned. I urge you, brothers, to participate in the electioneering process, because if you don't lead, you'll be led. And sometimes if you don't vote, actually you have just voted for the guy who won. And it could be the wrong guy who will not be advocating for issues that matter to you, for issues that you believe in. So I urge all of us, those who are listening to our voice, for them to come and participate in the election. If you don't vote, you have just voted for the wrong guy. Having said that, I asked my brother Asad Zaman, to also let you know that we have thousands and thousands of our Liberian Muslim and Christian brothers who came here as a result of the war. They've been here on TPS, and then it transitioned to DED, which is Defer Enforced Departure. And that expires on the 31st of this month. President Bush extended it, Obama did, and it is our prayer and hope that this president also will do that. So we want to ask you, if you don't stand by us and urge our lawmakers and our key leaders in the state, in the Minnesota alone we have a 40,000, and half of that population could be affected significantly if this number, or if no action is taken. We've been to Congress, our congressional leaders from Minnesota, they are supporting us. So we are asking the Muslims and Christians, Isaiah, we are on our way to you. And other groups, human rights organizations, we are coming to you so to ask for your support. This is one of our brothers, also is one of the leaders in our community. Those of you who have the sign, this is a sign. Please ask President Trump, put it up, ask President Trump to extend the DED. Thank you. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless each and every one of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Next, I would like to call Jamal Abdullahi, a community leader here in Minnesota.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jamal Abdullahi. For those of you who are writing down, it's Abdullahi. My family moved here from Somalia when I was 15 years old. And I do not need a permission from anyone, including the guy that's in the White House, to be an American. Why? Because Minneapolis, Minnesota, and America is the only country that I know of. And I do not need anyone's permission, including him, to be an American. I am an engineer by trade, and one of my contributions to America is to work for Lockheed Martin 8 years, building mission computers for F-35, F-16, F-22, and some other advanced equipment that I'm not able to talk about. I was working for 8 years to give American women and men in service the best equipment possible. And one day, 2 days before the election, when the guy that's currently in the White House comes in and picks me out and says, see those Somalis right there? They are the problem. I am offended. I am offended and I hold him accountable for inspiring the terror attack at the Bloomington Mosque. That is who we are. That is how mad I am. And for those of you, the non-Muslims, with those signs, your presence is a source of comfort. So thank you for coming. Again, that's just a little bit about me. One Minnesotan, one America, making a difference in America day in and day out. So thank you for being here and thank you for listening.
Next, I would like to call Abdulrashid Arab from Minnesota Child Care Association.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I would like to thank you for coming. Today's Muslim rally at the Capitol. We are part of the rally and movement, and I am member of the member of Minnesota Child Care Minority Association, and I'm a chairperson of the board. And I would like to encourage people who are here and those who are not here today to engage and become very active. There are a lot of things that matter us. We have to work together and unite together. Thank you so much.
Next, I'd like to call Steve Simon, Minnesota State Secretary of State.
Thank you. It's an honor to be with you. Last year, the preschool at which my 4-year-old daughter attends was the subject of a bomb threat. When the call came in, my daughter was in the swimming pool with her classmates. The staff was great. They whisked her out of the pool along with her other classmates, wrapped her in a towel, brought her to a secure location in a car, and all the while didn't make the children scared. When my wife went to pick up our daughter, she was laughing and playing, having no idea what had gone on. Now, it turned out that that bomb threat ended up being a hoax. There was no bomb, but naturally, precautions had to be taken. So I imagine how hard it must be when any community has to face a real bomb threat or a real bomb. That's what happened last August in our community. I say our community. Our community. This didn't just happen to the Muslim community. This happened to me. This happened to all of us in Minnesota. And I want you to know that as long as I hold this office, or as long as I live in Minnesota, I've got your back. Because we succeed and survive and thrive in Minnesota when we are one Minnesota. What happens to one of us happens to all of us. Thank you for having me here today. God bless. Thank you.
Next, I would like to call Ayaz Hussein from Al-Amal School.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning. My name is Ayaz Hussein and I'm an 8th grade student at Al-Amal School, the only private and full-time Islamic school in the entire state of Minnesota. I am here because representation matters to me. Today we are standing in the Capitol, which is known as the People's House. When I look out at this crowd in this rotunda, I am proud to see my people. My people are Muslims. My people are people of other faith. My people are Minnesotans, and my people are those who fight for equality, for justice, and for our rights. One of the painful struggles that I experience is the hateful speech that random people just spit out at me. The mean looks they give my mom and sister just because they wear a hijab. Other people that I know have experienced it even worse. Getting assaulted, beat up at a restaurant, being chased by people in their cars, just being physically hurt in general. I was in a pet shop one day and a random teenage boy walked up to me and maliciously muttered, Allahu Akbar. This isn't even a cut down. This beautiful saying, which means God is greater, is now being used by ignorant people to what? Intimidate and ridicule me? I'm sharing with you with what happened to me, but others, they don't have this outlet. They can't tell their story. That's why I'm here today, because our voices need to be heard. Today, I ask all of our state elected officials, especially my good friend Senator John Hoffman, representing 36B, to keep Minnesota welcoming, safe, and a place for everyone regardless of their color or what religion they practice. Because I call Minnesota my home, and I want others to have the same feeling.
Next, I would like to call Imam Muhammad Mursal from Ihsan Islamic Center.
In Somali, we say, "Barasho horteed hay nacen." Don't hate me before you know me. We have two options in Minnesota. Either to divide ourselves, bad groups and good groups, nice one and bad one, or to unite ourselves and make Minnesota a great state that can, be built with our diversity and our differences. If we downgrade and put down one person, and if we allow that, that means we are witnessing injustice. So we need, as a Minnesotans, Muslims and non-Muslims, all of us. This is a very, very difficult time, especially for the Muslims. So we need all of us, we need really, Isaiah, people of faith, and all Minnesotans. This is the time that Muslims are facing Islamophobia, are getting discriminated, so we need your support. And thank you for coming, and thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Next, I would like to call Jailani Hussein from CARE.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. First question, are you here? I can't hear you. Are you here? They can't hear you. Let's try this one more time. Are you here? Well, we're going to test it. Takbir! No, that was not good, folks. Some of you are like, let's try this again. Because Muslims, if you're here, that's definitely how we know you're here. Takbir! Takbir! And for those who don't know what that is, it just means praise God, the most greatest. God is great. I want to first of all just recognize anytime we gather in an important place like this, as Muslims, we have to recognize the Native American people in this land who we today are here because of their welcoming to us in this land. And second of all, I want you to just look around and see all the allies who came out today. Look around who have come here today to stand with us, to stand with the Muslim community. A lot has been said. A lot has been said. But I want to just say a couple of things to you today. The first and most important thing is, this is not all the Muslims in Minnesota. And that's a problem that us Muslims have to recognize. That we should have had thousands of people coming into this building today. And we can do that. And we need to do it not just in today, but we need to do it all the time. You need to have your coffee break in this building. You need to come and have lunch in this building. You need to bring another person into this building. Why? Because today we are the subject that many of the Congress people, many of the state representatives and senators are talking about. We are the subject that they're talking about. So you have to show up. And you have to constantly show up. Muslims have been part of the framing and everything that made what America is today. We have to remind this state leaders that Muslims are not here from 1960. We've been here from the beginning, the inception of the United States. And we're going to stay, and we're all gonna be here. We're not going anywhere. Governor Dayton in St. Cloud told some folks there, if you don't like our new immigrants, find another state. That's the kind of governor we have here in the state of Minnesota. Number one, all the masajids, all the organizations that have signed on to be here today, thank you. But we want you to do more. We want you to bring people. We want you to take a responsibility to bring the state senators in your district back to your masjid, back into your community. Have those conversations with them. That is your right. And on the day when we come together and we're all voting, remember those who showed up, those who were able to listen to you, because that is the currency of politics, is your vote. And finally, there are a lot of young people here, I know from Alameda School and others. We need the young people. We need the young Muslims today, because a lot of times you are the bridge that can build a better and more inclusive community. You don't have the thick accent that some of us have, right? You know better, more about Minnesota than most Minnesotans. And that's the fact. And finally, I want to say, today is just a day, but let's make sure we are present all the time. We are present all the time. And finally, I want to just say this. If some of you want to do a little bit more work tonight we're showing up at the Osseo School District School Board meeting. As many of you know, one of the school board members resigned a few weeks ago due to comments that he made about our community. But we need to continue to show up. So tonight, if you have time at 7 p.m., many of you even live in that district, show up and have your voice be heard. Jazakumullahu khairan wa barakallahu feekum. And for everybody else who's here, thank you for showing up for us today. Thank you for being here.
And I know Jelani said finally 4 times, but finally.
There's one more finally.
Yeah, finally. No, this is, inshallah, this will be a working model for our working together and collaboration going forward. So Mass and Care and all the masjids together, inshallah. So give it up for Jelani.
Yes. And give it up to Mass for really taking this leadership. It's been 14 years. So we have to be going on for another hundreds of years, inshallah, with that type of leadership. I want to just remind everybody, Imam, can you stand up again? If you don't know what DED is, I'm sorry. I know he talked about it, but if you don't know what it is, I'm sorry. Because the reality is, this current federal administration is affecting all of us. And when it affects one of us, it affects all of us. We all have to stand up together. And that's the only way we can challenge these racist policies that are being legislated in our society today. Thank you very much.
Also, I would like to announce the day to stand with our Liberian brothers and sisters for the immigration struggle. It's on Monday, March 26th here at the state capitol at 11:30 a.m. Okay. I would like to say a few words, and I know a lot has been said, but I want to get your attention. I want to talk to you for a couple of minutes as Minnesotans. Muslims, Christians, Jews, people of faith, people of no faith, everyone here and everyone watching anywhere else. There's a lot at stake. The Prophet, peace be upon him, he taught us that you hold your brother's hand, whether you defend your brother, whether he's oppressor or being oppressed. And he was asked, How do you defend him when he is the oppressor? By holding his hand. We have our values as Minnesotans is justice. We have to act. There's a lot at stake. What is at stake? Your neighbor's dignity is at stake. What is at stake? Your neighbor's life is at stake. What is at stake? Our values as Americans is at stake. We cannot let political rhetoric get to the level of harming people, harming children, harming families. There's a lot at stake. And I encourage all the Muslims here, all the Muslims that are not here, everyone here in Minnesota, to stand for justice and to engage and to act. The time is now. We cannot let history is in the making now. We cannot look back in 2018 and regret and say, I could have done something different. 2018 is now. Your vote matters. You showing up matters now. Not tomorrow, not next year. Coming here today, I think this is my second time here at the Capitol building, but I'm going to be here more often. Politicians have to recognize us. We are human beings. We are their neighbors. We are the ones who elected them. They have to take care, they have to care about our issues and care about our values. I want to welcome the Imam, Imam Makram, inshallah, to the...
Assalamu alaikum. May God's peace be upon you, and peace be with you. My name is Makram El-Amin, the Imam of Masjid An-Nur in Minneapolis, and I'm excited to see all of your faces here. I rushed back, I was in Europe, I'm rushed back to come for this event, and I'm a little bit jet lagged, so just please bear with me for just a little bit. My message to you is first one of optimism, that despite all of the challenges that we may be facing as a Muslim community and as Americans in this time, that we have strong and unwavering faith in God, that our future tomorrow will be better than today. We live with this, we embrace this concept, this idea all the time that tomorrow will be better than today. But tomorrow requires that we do work today. Tomorrow requires that we be engaged today. Tomorrow requires that we participate today. And tomorrow also requires that we build coalitions. We must be known as builders of coalitions. Our faith tradition calls upon us to build coalitions with those who have shared values and shared outcomes, that we are to build coalitions with the willing. Despite all of the challenges that we are faced, we must hold to the fundamental belief that God will guide us through. He will guide us through. Never lose faith. Never lose faith. In fact, today is a day of hopefulness, of faithfulness and hopefulness. Not hopelessness, hopefulness. That we are here in the state capitol again, the 14th year, I believe, right? 14th year, and it's constantly growing. I just want to remind you as you engage your elected officials today, as you talk among yourselves, and all of our friends, our allies that have come to share with them. I want to give them a round of applause today as well. Yes. The Minnesota Muslim Leaders Coalition is united in an effort to bring us together, to support each other's organizations, and to build up the capacity of each of our organizations. You'll hear more about this coming, but understand that we are here and we're here to stay. Guys, peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum.
Next, I would like to call Minnesota Attorney General Lori Swanson.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Capitol, and thank you for being here today. You know, America is a country that is built on hope, not hate, on inclusion, not exclusion, and on a wonderful Bill of Rights that gives us our freedoms and our liberties, including liberty and freedom to choose the faith we want to choose who we want to associate with, to get our news from a media that's free, and to support the political candidates we want to support. Now, today we seem to live in a climate sometimes where there's increased polarization, where sometimes it seems like people don't necessarily care about the plight of others unless it benefits them in some way, and where people sometimes only seem to want to talk to people who already agree with what they believe. That's not America, though. That's not what our country's built on, and it's not why America's been the country it is for 200 years. And so by you being here today, you really honor what's best about this country by talking to elected officials, meeting with people, sharing views. You help bring about increased tolerance, increased hope, increased diversity, and increased inclusion, all of the values that we all cherish and that make this country so great. So thank you for letting me work for you, and thank you for taking time out of your day to come to the state capitol. Appreciate you guys very much.